Hi, I'm Alex from the Southern Ukulele Store. Recently, I was sharing some of our really old videos from YouTube, almost as a joke, on social media, and I came across how popular our video on the early Snail models is. Even now, 7-8 years after it was released, with much better video and audio quality out there, people are going to that video and using it as a resource to learn about the Snail brand and the more popular models. I mean, back in 2019, we made the Snail S60 our ukulele of the year. And there was a time just before Flight came along, really, where Snail were the brand that people whispered about at their ukulele clubs, or the brand that people recommended to other ukulele players online. But Kala, Enya, Flight, brands with a lot more kind of presence on social media and online presence. Those arguably bigger and more popular known brands have done a very, very good job of getting themselves at the front of the queue on a Google search, or the front of a queue when you go to a ukulele specialist shop. But we've always loved Snail here, and there's definitely a place for them even in 2024. It's the same place that they occupied way back in 2017-18 when we first featured them. So today we're going to look at the BHC-5 series and the BHC-6 series. Let's take a look first at the BHC-5 series. This is the BHC-5T tenor, but this ukulele is available in concert and baritone flavours known as the BHC-5C and the BHC-5B. The spec on this ukulele is great. You have a solid spruce top with abalone rosette and abalone front binding, and then on the sides and the back you have maple trim. So you've got a maple back stripe on this ukulele, and the back and sides are ebony. They are laminate ebony. It's a high gloss finish for the body, and the back and sides are a laminate ebony. Really nice, thin, lightweight ukulele. You have a high gloss finish for the body as well as for the neck, and you have a flower inlay on the 7th fret of this ukulele, which is quite unique to this model. You have a slotted headstock with the Snail logo, and on the side here you've got these black open gear tuners. You have a 35mm nut width on all of these models. That's the concert, tenor and baritone. The 35mm nut width sometimes will scare people off in the modern world because they have been kind of advised to get something with a wide nut. But so many people come in and they try a Snail and it just feels right. So do not be deterred by the fact that it has a more conventional and traditional 35mm nut width. It's still got a 27mm string spacing, which is the same as a Koa Loa, which has a wider nut width than this. So it's not always about the nut width measurement. Most of these ukuleles have the same features, and that alone is reason enough for us to talk about the baritone. The BHC-5B comes out of the factory with high G GCEA strings, which is an unusual choice and something that I'm surprised they haven't changed over the years since they introduced it. The baritone concept from Snail itself was something that we really pushed them to do, and the shape of it is like an enlarged concert ukulele, and the scale length is somewhere just above 20 inches, so it feels just slightly smaller than, say, a Kala or a Lanakai at the same kind of price. It's not quite Ohana 19-inch for Villa scale, it's somewhere in between. It's a ukulele that can't really decide what it wants to be, and that in itself makes it quite unique in the grand scheme of things. The factory strings are GCEA, but I've actually restrung this one today with DGBE strings. The strings are a mixture of black nylon and bronze wound. I'll put a link in the description if you're finding yourself wanting this ukulele with this string combination. Finally, the fingerboard on these ukuleles is ebony, bridge ebony. This might be unique to the European version of Snail. There are incarnations of Snail around the world. In the US, sometimes they go under the name Amahi, and those ukuleles quite often have an Indian rosewood fingerboard and bridge. But for whatever reason, Snail in the UK, the chap who brings Snail into the UK and Europe, he preferred ebony. He felt it was a good upgrade that didn't cost any more money, and that's just how it's always been. Let's give the BHC-5 series a play and see what you think. Next up today, let's take a look at the BHC-6 series. The BHC-6 series is available in concert and tenor size. So you have the BHC-6C and you have the BHC-6T. Now you'll notice the tenor version of this ukulele is not that much bigger than the concert. I tried to touch on it in the previous size, but as I've got less sizes to talk about here, this feels like the right place. Snail tenors are just a tiny bit petite. If you were to put a snail tenor next to a Kala, they feel just 4 to 5% smaller. It's not a big enough size difference that you would feel like this is a different size. It's definitely a snail, but the tenors have an inherent kind of brighter quality to them. Don't get me wrong, there's still a 17-inch scale on the tenor, but if you were to put a low G on it, you're going to get a voicing that's slightly more, slightly sweeter, slightly brighter, regardless of the wood combination. It's not going to have the boom or the depth that, say, like a Flight Fireball might have. What this ukulele does is produce much more of a classical guitar, a very melodic tone, a very sweet tone. The BHC-6C and BHC-6T are similar to the uke we've just looked at. You have a cedar top though, so a solid cedar top for these ukuleles, which is a softer wood. In theory, more of a kind of classical guitar style wood, a wood that's going to produce some lovely warmth, but actually projection, attack, these kind of things are why you would choose this on a ukulele as opposed to mahogany. You have the laminate ebony back and sides on this. There's less bling on this ukulele. It does have the abalone style rosette, but it's got a much simpler white plastic trim around the outside. You have maple binding on the back on both sides, and then you have the maple trim down the back going against the ebony once again. So it's a laminate ebony back and sides, an ebony fingerboard and bridge with the, I think it's a hibiscus flower inlay, gloss mahogany neck going up to the slotted headstock, and the black tuners. These ukuleles are great. When they were around £300, they felt like there was a lot of stiff competition. But actually the price drop that we've just introduced on these ukuleles that I'm hoping can be an ongoing thing has brought them in line with things like a Flight Diana, some of the laminate Kala models, and actually these suddenly really punch above their weight. So if you're looking for a ukulele that you can step up from a beginner's uke into, there's really never been a better time in the last 7-8 years to buy a Snail. So it was a bit opportunistic of me to bring these up. Obviously I am a salesman, I've got a shop, I like talking about things that I sell, but these ukuleles have always been good, and I'm really hoping that if you couldn't find resources out there to teach you about Snail ukuleles, that this video has done that job for you. I'm going to give the BHC-6C and the BHC-6T a play for you now and see what you think. There you have it, folks. We've taken a look at the BHC-5 and BHC-6 series by Snail. What did you think? What's your experience of Snail? Let us know in the comments section. We've got some very cool, very exciting things coming back into stock in the coming weeks, but I'm always open to hearing what you want featured. What do we have on the website right now that you would really like to hear a sound sample of? Let us know in the comments section, or you can call the store 01202 43082 or email me at alex@ukulele.co.uk if I can help any more. Thank you so much for watching. Have a good day.